Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and today we're going to talk about putting on clothes and body dysphoria. Oh my God, this one is a hard one, right? When you put on that one item that you think is going to make you look so good, and then you put it on, and what do you see? You just see the clothing item on a body that just doesn't match or fit in the way that you were hoping it to. And then suddenly you get those thoughts. Do you know what thoughts I'm talking about? The ones that start to cascade into bigger negative self-talk patterns that loop in your head and start to trigger all that dysphoria and all that sadness in that you can't have what you want to have, which is a normal body. And I put that into quotes because we're also, as trans people, selective of what bodies are acceptable to ourselves. I know for myself, I have an idealized form of a woman's body, and that body is the body I want, and anything but that can be something that drives my own dysphoria because maybe my shoulders are too broad, or maybe my rib cage is too big, or my hips are too square, and all of this really just makes me look like a chiseled guy when I wear a dress. Those are some of the thoughts and experiences that I've had, and I can totally relate to you if you've had those experiences too, where you just thought it was going to be a good outcome, and instead it would just turn into a car accident, an emotional one. Do you know what I mean? So what do I do? How do we work with this? And how do we solve our own kind of like conflict with this? These are the kinds of questions that I would ask and I'd be thinking about. And this was asked by one of you, Jasmine, it is. Thanks, Jasmine, for asking this. So I remember the first time I put on a dress that I thought was gonna look really good on me. And when I put it on, it felt really good. But when I looked in the mirror, it was all wrong. You know those kinds of bodycon dresses, the ones that are tight and they're form-fitting? Well, it felt good because it was tight and form-fitting, but I mean, it just revealed the fact that I had broad shoulders and the fact that I had small hips, and that I was just generally, I guess, a small person, which is not a bad thing. But seeing myself in the mirror and like noticing that and knowing that others would see that, it just sucks. You're just like, this is reality. And I put that into quotes because reality is totally relative to how you perceive it. But this is reality, the shared reality that other people can agree on. And my body just looks like a dude's body, and I can't really change or hide that fact when I wear this. So, woe is me. Why am I stuck in this? And gosh, I really hate this, and I wish that I didn't have it. And this experience sucks. And I hate that I'm being trans, and maybe there's more self-loathing. I don't really want to get into the really deep negative self-talk, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Those dark paths that you can go down that really hurt and lead you to cry. Those deep, deep sadnesses. I remember wailing and screaming out into the darkness and into the pillow alone, just feeling trapped by my body. It sucks. I think people understand being trans is an amazing thing, and they also understand that it's incredibly tough. But you don't really know how hard it is until you walk the walk and really see how fucking difficult it is. It's hard. And then we're not even talking about layering on all of the additional downs that you're gonna have. Like if you lose your job, or you can't pay rent, or someone is like stalking you, or just all these negative things, you layer that onto your own experience of being transgender, and it's just like, wow, that is like life on hard mode. God. So how do I deal with this? The first thing is, you have to be even keeled. You have to catch yourself before the thoughts start cascading into bigger thoughts. And what I mean by that is, it starts with a little thought, and that little thought can become a part of a larger mechanism that starts to feed a larger mechanism that starts to feed a larger mechanism in your brain, in your mind. Thoughts, small thoughts like, oh, it doesn't fit, can turn into, oh, my body is the wrong body. Oh yeah, that's right. My body is the wrong body and this is not designed for me because I'm trans and this is like the world that I live in, and then I'll never be accepted and other people will always see me as a man. And then you kind of like spiral into that thought and spiral into that thought. And this thought cascade is enabled very quickly if you're not able to catch it. You really have to be aware of yourself and how you kind of let loose these thoughts. The reason why they move so fast and they're really hard to catch is because they're driven by your belief systems and the narrative, the story that you tell yourself and that you believe in. If you believe that you're a trans person who is going to struggle and is going to have other people not accept you or your body, and that this is always going to be the case, and you believe all of these things, then it's really easy for this single thing, oh, my dress isn't fitting, to cascade into this much larger story about your existence and how like terrible it is. So when I put on the dress and go, oh, it doesn't fit and my shoulders look a little wide and my hips definitely look small, I say to myself, all right, well, it's just not fit for me and maybe I don't look good in this one, but I know that there's other dresses and other things that I can wear that would be more flattering in my body, and I know that other people can accept it. Those kind of self-affirmations can help redirect this thought cycle and spin up a new positive thought cycle, or at least a more even-tempered one. That's not to say that I'm perfect or that I get it right every time, but just being able to push the brakes on this thought that can easily spin out of control is really key to managing your own body dysphoria. It's these narratives and stories, and I call this getting to the root. When you have something where you are pulled down, where you have all these negative thoughts that keep on creeping up and you're kind of whacking them down, where you have to be like, oh, okay, I need to stop that thought and I need to stop that thought. I need to stop that thought. You can do that when you have the energy, but this takes energy. And so if you're constantly whacking all these negative thoughts all the time, you eventually run out of energy, and eventually one of these thoughts really just takes over and has a field day with consuming you. And that's where you can have crippling dysphoria, or a day where you just don't want to leave your bed, or you're super depressed because you've run out of energy. You've run out of the ability to resist these negative thought patterns. And you're also feeding them, so they get larger and stronger. And also, the more you resist something, I just want to note this for you, the more you resist something, the more you give it permission to exist and have power over you. The more you resist something, the more you give something the permission to exist and to have power over you. Because its mere existence and the fact that you are threatened by that thought creates more power in that thought, and it gives it more permission to exist. So what I say is, don't feed the thoughts and redirect the thoughts. Take that negative thought and say, well, and it's a thought. It's not me. This is a mindful exercise, by the way, understanding how to disassociate yourself with your thoughts and understanding that they're not the same thing. You are not your thoughts. You're perhaps at times a product of your thoughts, but you're a product of your thoughts that you took action on and that you actualized. You're not a product of all your thoughts, because if you followed all your thoughts, you would go in a million different directions, and you have to prioritize and you have to make decisions based on your morals, your expectations, and how you believe yourself to be. That's a whole nother topic for another time, but I just wanted to put that in there. So where am I going with this? I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just going everywhere. Where do you think I'm going with this? To get yourself out of that, you need to find, this is it, the root. You need to ask yourself, where are all these thoughts coming from? What is the story and the what is the belief system that continues to allow these thoughts to blossom and bloom? And for me, my body dysphoria in relation to wearing clothes comes from the root of let me just ask myself this question 1 second. I am trans and people are not going to accept my body, and I will not be attractive to other people that I want to attract because of this. And this is my fate. That's basically the story and the belief system. that I subscribe to. And I'm really trying to unsubscribe. You know, it's a lot easier to subscribe and unsubscribe on YouTube than it is your own belief system and your own thoughts. That was a dumb joke, I'm sorry. So by addressing that thought and saying, you know what, I can relabel that and say, some people may not accept me, but that doesn't mean everyone will accept me. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be a victim of my own body. What it means is, and here's another way to more label it positively, I have a really good body. And if other people are going to label me or project onto me that my body is not good, that's their problem and not mine. And if they're going to rate me on my body, that's really not who I want to be around anyways, because I'm multidimensional. I have more aspects to myself than just my body. And if someone doesn't acknowledge the fact that I have more aspects to myself than my body, then they're not worth my time, because this is really what matters the most in connecting with. And so I tell myself that, and that helps me quickly get out of the hole that I might start digging and start moving into a positive direction of telling and crafting my self-narrative. And this is another way of getting over imposter syndrome, is to like look at the root story that you have. Oh, I faked it till I made it, that kind of thing. If you look at that and say, no, I didn't fake it, and I know a lot of you have imposter syndrome, I certainly did. No, I'm not faking it. I've actually been real the whole time, and that's why I'm existing now as this person. You just relabel that, and then all the thoughts that stem off of that, like, ooh, someone's gonna catch you faking it, or they've caught you faking it, or you're threatened because they've caught you faking it. All those can't exist if you don't believe the root story of that, which is, if you don't believe that you faked it and that you've always made it, you've won. So that's enough of tea time for today. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.